Now's the time to get involved. The Coalition for a Strong America is the only conservative grassroots organization meeting with congressmen and high-level staffers on a regular basis. Stephanie Scruggs, co-chairman, is concerned about the upcoming TPA vote.
First of all, what you need to know is that fast-track TPAs is still before Congress, where Congress gives their power to negotiate international trade agreements and treaties to the president.
She recommends contacting your representative and telling them to vote no on this measure. It comes to the floor this Thursday, June the 11th. For more information, go to coalitionforastrongamerica.com and let your voice be heard. This has been a special announcement from K98 Talk.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I
truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here. But then one of my buddies showed me this website. And now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven Ultra Lipo Stick. Carbohydrates are bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra Lipo Stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra Lipo Stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Well, hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And I checked again today. Speaking of today, it is Monday, June the 8th in the year of our Lord 2015. And it is the beginning of the week as we ramp up and get ready. I know a lot of kids, this will be their, either they've had it or this is their last week or next to last week of school before summer vacation. So if you're out and about, beginning this week and next week, please watch out for the little chillin' who will probably be out and about during the day because they won't be in school. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I know that there was a time in this nation when we thought about having kids go to school just about year round, from like September to July or something like that. I know in one of the townships here in Derry that's exactly what Derry, New Hampshire, that's what they wanted to do at one point. And they even had a whole plan to do it. And it was like the kids were going to have like a 3-week recess in the summer in order to change grades and that type of thing. Otherwise, it would be all year round. But the schedule was a lot different. And, just another one of those things that thankfully didn't come to fruition. Let's face it, kids need a break too. And speaking of breaks, I gotta tell you, today was just one of those days. Not one of those days where you just want to stay in bed. Those are usually on Sundays. When you just don't want to do anything. But today was one of those days that was, you just wanted to start over. And I don't think it would have turned out any differently anyway, even if we did start over. I got to tell you, I think I'm feeling a little under the weather today. Now, I don't have allergies. At least I've never had allergies before. That doesn't mean as you get older, you can't develop them. I know people who have. My mother, for instance, she didn't have allergies when she was younger, but she does now. And I hope that's not the case for me, but yours truly is soldiering on just for you. And I will not put down this mic for just about, I'm going to have to be feeling really under the weather for me not to be here, folks. But I won't be behind the mic this Thursday, not live anyway, simply because I will be out in Massachusetts, or down in Massachusetts, giving a keynote speech down in Easton, Mass. And we'll give you a little bit more detail on that a little bit later on this week. I know Obama made a bunch of news out there. But, we're going to get into Obama talking about, the man is just, this narcissism is getting out of control. Now, folks, I tell you, the next year and a half is going to be a rough ride. And that we're going to need every single judge and congressman and senator to stand up to this guy. Because, he's out there looking, this judge got this wrong about this particular plan, and the Supreme Court shouldn't even be taking this up. I've never heard a president it's not saying that presidents in the past haven't had their differences, with Congress or the Supreme Court. Many of them have. But they don't. I don't recall any of them specifically saying, trying to tell the other two branches their business. You shouldn't even be taking that up. Obamacare, you shouldn't even be taking that up. Illegal immigration, shouldn't even be taking that up. That's my area. Congress shouldn't even be trying to write a law on it. My area. So we'll get into that and a bunch of other stuff from Mr. Obama, President Obama. And but first, there's stuff out there, and you got to be really careful, because some of it looks like it's pretty cool, and some of it looks like it's pretty real. I've been watching this program on Hulu, American Greed. And last night was also another fantastical episode of Game of Thrones, but I'm not going to be talking about that today. I will not talk about it today and how it relates to what's going on in our political climate today. And it does, remind me of it later in the week after people have had a chance to see it. I don't want to give anything away. But after everybody's had a chance to see it, look, I figure, as popular as it is, if you haven't seen it by Wednesday, then too bad for you, right? So we'll talk about that on Wednesday. But it's a fascinating program. I mean, the twists and turns and the unexpecteds in this you kind of sit there expecting something unexpected, and it gets you almost every time. Because you're not expecting something, and you're expecting to not expect something, if you know what I'm saying. Problem is you don't know exactly when that unexpectedness is going to happen, because it gets you when you least expect it. And there are many parts of the program, every week that you least suspect something happening. But when it happens, you're like, oh, man, I didn't see that one coming. And I didn't see it coming here or in this way or in this way. That's what makes this, it keeps you on your toes. This is what makes the program fascinating. And I haven't read any of the books, but I understand that last week's episode deviated from the books quite a bit. So I don't know where the deviation, I'm guessing it's at Hardhome, where the deviation really took place. So, but fascinating deviation. Hardhome. I was not expecting that to happen. I know a lot of people that haven't read, I don't even know if that was part of the books, but I know a lot of people who haven't read the books, and nobody expected the White Walkers to attack at some point. Not the wall, but somewhere where they would be fully noticed. Nobody expected it to be such a full-on onslaught slaughter at Hardhome. Really. And, it was absolutely, what we learned at Hardhome as well was also something else that was absolutely unexpected and fascinating. And actually, if you paid attention, you can kind of go back, hindsight's 2020. You can see, because hindsight is 2020, you can see the foreshadowing of Jon Snow being a leader and that sword of his. But there's so much of it out there. I mean, you don't know when it's going to come forth and take place. And I mean, the next thing you really got to ask yourself about is the dragons. What's happening with the dragons? I mean, we know that winter's coming, but dragons are the opposite of winter. Are those three dragons going to be the savior of the whole land? I mean, are we? They've grown, and we've got the rebel dragon, Drogon, who is running around loose out there while his two siblings are now chained up. But I don't. There's some foreshadowing there, but you can't quite figure it out. And Tyrion, what the, there's Tyrion, the Tyrion thing, and there's so Arya. I mean, the faceless, or the nameless faceless man. Whatever, it's absolutely amazing. Really is amazing. It keeps you on your toes. I love the program. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about different shows, as being, but I find them all to be typical. Even the good ones tend to be, there's too much predictability to them. Now, and some people say, well, that's reality. Well, no, House of Cards was totally unpredictable. The ending of this past season was unpredictable. Who would have predicted that in the middle of the campaign, Claire would leave Francis? Unpredictable. And you can say, well, she was getting discontented. Yeah, but you actually, it was leading you to believe that there was going to be some sort of big blow up and, that type of thing. But just for her just to up and leave? I don't know. Is that something that people think that Hillary Clinton must have wanted to do in the White House? Just up, but but Claire seemed to have at some point had some small political ambitions, maybe following in the Clinton footsteps of heading into the Senate after her husband finished his term as president. I don't, but now that seems to be a little, to me, that would seem to be a very bad thing to do for your political aspirations, abandoning your husband in the middle of a very important campaign for him. But it is what it is, and this isn't a show about shows. But hey, look, I get to talk about the programs that I really thoroughly enjoy, and there is not many of them. They're just, but anyway, I've been watching this program on Hulu. I think it's originally a CNBC program. It might be. There's a couple. I know one of them is CNBC, and that's The Prophet with Marcus Lemonis. Interesting program, interesting premise, and interesting program. However, that's not the one. American Greed is the interesting one. It doesn't surprise me at the lengths that people will go to scam other people. Now, the reason why people, not everybody, but the reason why so many people are so easily fooled and scammed is because they're greedy. They're greedy in the wrong way. Now, and I'm not saying it's bad, because we've all have fallen into that trap, because we will look at certain things and say, well, I need to get, if I'm going to put my money and save it someplace, I'm going to need a higher, rate of return. Because, having a rate of return that is above inflation rate, let's say 9 or 10% return, is not good enough for most of us. Most of us want a bigger return. We want 15, we want 20% return annual. Hell, some of us want a 20% monthly return. And so we'll look for various ways of doing it. And when somebody comes along and seems to show us a seemingly legitimate way of doing it, we fail to do our full due diligence on them. We do a couple of little small investigations. Yeah, they're kind of real. Yeah. Because sometimes these scam artists, they will name their company just like a real company. And in one of the episodes I saw last night, these scammers actually did that. They legally named their company after another established financial firm. And so when people look them up, they got the established financial firm and thought that they were looking at these scammers. Now, if they would have just bothered to look a little bit further, they would have found out that there were two companies that named the same thing, and there's a separation there. And one had nothing to do with the other, but people didn't do that. And so they got scammed. Many of them lost their money. Hey, you're going to get these fantastic returns. All you got to do is just let us control the money. There were red flags all over the place, but people still got burned. And these people, they're out there saying, well, these guys are just terrible. Well, no. Well, yeah, they're criminals, but you were the foolish one to fall for their scam. Look, I go to seminars, these free seminars all the time. And there isn't, I think there maybe once I bought something. Once. But when I go to these things, I look for certain clues that this is going to be a scam. And there was one time a few years ago I went to this seminar. It's a free seminar. And if you show up, if you wanted the first 500 or whatever it is to get, confirm your ticket or whatever, you're going to get a free tablet and a free MP3 player. Not, this is back when MP3 players, before they were really, 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 the back when the iPod was in its first or second incarnation. And tablets were just starting to really, come about. So I went. And I got to tell you, It was about, using this company to sell stuff. You pick whatever you wanted. They were going to help you. You use their websites and that type of thing to build traffic, and they'd help you build traffic. And it was really, not only did you have to pay like $2,000 for the course and consultation, but then you're paying, like, even back then, it was like $40 or $50 a month for this part of the website, and then another $30 or $40 a month for this part of the website. It was even expensive for website hosting back then. Now, website hosting is really cheap today, but go back 5 or 6 years, it was a little bit more expensive, but it was even expensive for web hosting back then. And it was like an entire day. You got lunch. Lunch ended up being pizza. Free lunch. But you sat there the entire day and you got pitched the entire day. There was very little real information that you could use and take home and sit down in front of your computer and use it. There wasn't, and what you could use was very benign. And if you didn't, it was very difficult for you to take notes to do this, because they went through it pretty fast when they got to some real meat stuff, and it was always on the screen. They never really, you couldn't record the conversation. So if you missed it, you missed it. If you couldn't get it down, write it down fast enough, you couldn't get it down. So from the first speaker, red flag went up. Because all they were talking about is what they did, how they did it. Well, fine, that's great. Why don't you tell me how you did it? I'm glad that, you made all this money. Beautiful. That's beautiful, man. Beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Now, tell me how you did it. Nothing. Didn't find out how he did it. Well, he told us he used this company. Yeah, but didn't tell us how he did it. And then another person gets up there for an hour and a half, goes on and on and on and on about, they had these watches and they did this and did that with watches and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, great. Well, everybody here is not going to jump on the bandwagon and try to sell Rolex watches. So, but how did you do it? Again, nothing. Another red flag. And then at the end of the seminar, they were telling people, well, we can only take so many. Okay, red flag number 2, they'll take everybody who decides to sign up. I know that. Or red flag number 3. And then they say, well, we ran out of the free tablets. What? You specifically told us that if the first 500 people who sign up for this thing were going to get these tablets. Well, if 500 people signed up, shouldn't you have had 500 tablets there? And if you knew all these people were going to show up, wouldn't you have had the equal number of tablets? So you had to wait for this tablet. Well, okay, another red flag. And then MP3 player. I got the MP3 player. You know how many songs this MP3 player held? 20. It held a maximum of 20. That was it. 20 songs. No, it's not like I was expecting a full-blown MP3 player where you could, scroll through stuff and find the song that you want. Yeah, but it only held 20 songs. Like, are you kidding me? Only 20? And then I got this stupid little tablet thing. I don't even know what the hell it was. Some Chinese, no name, no brand, whatever, tiny little thing. And it wouldn't even connect to the internet. Not even hardwire. It couldn't connect. So it was useless. It was a piece of crap. And it took me a month to get it. And I had to threaten the company for them to send it to me. No, you guys promised this and this, and I'm going to report you as a scam. No, we'll get it to you. We don't, but you really should do this and and upgrade, so we'll get you a different one. I'm like, no. I want the one that you promised me. I'm not giving you any money right now. But there were plenty of people who did, to the tune of at least $2,000 for their basic plan. $6,000 or more for some of their other plans. And, I didn't fall for it, but a lot of people did. Falling for look, we're falling for scams all over the place. And it's only because we're easy targets, simply because we're greedy in what we want and what we think we want. And then we don't do the needed and necessary research. I did my research, found out that this company had tons and tons and tons of complaints. I'm like, well, I'm not giving them my money. But you got to do your research, folks. We'll get into more right after this.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Back. By the way, if you wish to call the show, you can do so at 603-835-3224. That is a toll-free number, by the way. So, yes, you can do that should you wish to do so. As we continue on, look, as I was saying, you got to do your due diligence when it comes to when it comes to all of this scam type of stuff. I mean, you gotta pay attention to it. You gotta do your research on it, and you can't be taken because people will find all kinds of different ways to try to scam you out of your hard-earned money, and they're playing on your greed, or sometimes not just your greed, but on things that are unique and so-called fabulous that nobody else has. Well, isn't this unique? Isn't this cute? Isn't this novel? And people will tend to go for that kind of stuff, unfortunately, without really thinking too hard about it. And that's and then they get taken, and then they start blaming everybody else around them. Now, I'm not letting anybody off the hook who perpetrates a scam on anybody. But you know whose fault it really is? Yeah, the criminal is at fault, and they should be punished accordingly. But you know what? If you get caught up in a scam, most scams, believe it or not, are pretty shallow. That if you just did, a good 15, 20, 30 minutes of research on them, you would weed it out and you wouldn't get taken. But most people don't even do 5 minutes of research. So therefore, if you don't even do that, it's your fault. Now, there are some scams out there that are very elaborate, very sophisticated, and very deep. So if you did do the 30 minutes or so of research, you might still get taken. And in that particular case, well, you got to be careful because, if it sounds too good to be true, it just probably is. It might be too good to be true. Bernie Madoff is a prime example, but I think if people had bothered to do a little bit of research, and they would have found that there were people that were starting to. Well, I guess in the Madoff case, that was a deep, well, established, thought out scam, and even if people did their research and what have you, they wouldn't have seen, most likely, the truth. So that's a different story. But there are just some scams, and they were out there in this particular program in American Greed. They were out there, selling real estate. I see these all the time. And I often ask, how can people get taken? Time and time again, excuse me there. How could they get taken time and time again by these real estate scam artists? Yeah, and I know that there's some out there now. There's some new ones. There's the housing flipper thing. Remember like people like Carlton Sheets, Dave Deldato. Remember him? I believe he committed suicide. There was other people. Charles Givens. He was a lot more than just real estate. There were others too, way back in the 80s, early 90s, real estate. There was a couple of Asian Americans and Asian immigrants that got arrested in was it Tom Vu, I think, was one. But we had all these different scammers, basically. But people kept buying. They go to these seminars and they kept buying into this notion that they could get rich quick and rich easy off of buying and selling real estate using other people's money, even if they had bad credit and no money. And look, I didn't buy Dave Deldato's system. In fact, a person that I came across that I met, he had it. I claimed to have bought 2 properties using the system, and he let me use it. And at the time, my wife and I, we looked at this and just thought, how are we going to do this? And we tried to do it, and I got to tell you, every real estate agent that we went to and tried to look at houses, they laughed at us. We didn't get anywhere with it. Now, I'm not saying that people haven't been able to do what they say. I'm sure they have. But for the most part, a lot of this stuff, and later on in the 90s, we had the opportunity to buy a Carlton Sheets at a deep discount. Now, granted, I wouldn't have paid full price for this, but it was at a deep discount. So we bought it, looked it over, and found out it was pretty much the same thing as a Dave Deldato thing, just repackaged. And it wasn't really going to work. But people continued to buy this stuff. And now we've got the people out there with the look, I have talked to flippers. Because I am seriously interested in flipping myself, and I may get into it. But I got to tell you, there is no easy way to do it. I know everybody sees all these flipping shows on TV now, and they think that they can, it's real easy to do. And that they're always going to make, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 per flip. That is not the case. And I got to tell you, after talking with people who are in the business and who've been in the business of this type of thing for years, and they cannot believe that a lot of these hucksters who are out there, and I'm not going to say any names because I haven't purchased any of their products, and I haven't, or packages, whatever they have, and I have not tried to use them. I have not tried to dissect them and see what they have, but I just say you have to be careful and look for the red flags, because it's not as easy as they want to make it sound that it is. And if it was, they wouldn't be hawking their system for basically pennies of what it would actually be worth if whatever they were selling was actually real and actually worth. I'm sorry, I don't see somebody selling you the secrets to their multi-million-dollar business for $395. That should be red flag number 1. Yeah, I've made millions of dollars doing this. Okay, and you're going to sell it to me for $400? Really? What's the catch? You have to watch out for this kind of stuff. Now, it's not to say that you can't learn stuff from buying a book or buying a course and things like that. Yes, you can. And you can also find a lot of that stuff that you purchase in these packages for free online. If you do, you got to put in some time, but it can be done. And you can learn a lot by watching these programs. And you'll see that there's some tricks there that is not as easy as you think it is. And you got to know what you're doing, and you got to know what you're looking for. It's important. It's important. You've always got to do your due diligence. And sometimes it's something that doesn't involve you making money. Sometimes it's just somebody out there trying to sell you something that's really pretty much a scam. Now, if you're actually getting a product, that you're happy with, have you really been scammed? All right, let's take and I'm by no means am I saying this next thing is a scam, but let's just take it for an example. The pet rock. Now, anybody could walk outside, take a rock, go get one of those rock polishing kits that were available in the day, toss it in there, and then glue a chain on it, and they'd have a pet rock. But people spent, what $2.95 or something like that back in the day for a pet rock. Now, is it really a scam? Well, people see exactly what they're getting before they buy it, and they buy it. It's a novelty item. And so you can't really come back and say, well, I was expecting this thing to go up in value. Kind of like the tie. Remember the tie Beanie Babies? Before the bottom fell out, how expensive some of them had gotten? Some people say, well, Ty was trying to make them go. Well, really, were they? Or were they just continuing to make different types of these creatures, beanie creatures, Beanie Babies that people seem to want? You bought a product. You paid whatever, $6 or $7, whatever it was. If you bought it on the aftermarket after that, is that Ty's, the toy company Ty's fault? No, it's yours. So you have to watch out for this kind of stuff. I mean, is a product, are you buying it because you think it's an investment? Well, if you bought a pet rock because you thought it was going to be an investment, well, you made a foolish error. If you bought a Beanie Baby thinking it was going to be an investment, well, many people made the error of holding on to them when the market fell flat. Just fell out. Boom, gone. One day somebody had a Beanie Baby worth $300, and the next day they had a Beanie Baby worth $6. Literally. So, but it plays into our greed, unnatural greed. There's natural greed and unnatural greed. To get a 5,000% return is unnatural greed. To get a 10% annual return is natural greed. Natural greed is okay. Unnatural greed gets us into trouble. Even when you look at something and think, that's okay. Politics, that's okay. Unnatural greed in politics, hey, look, tax that person and then give it to me. Why? Get a job. Create a business. Hire people. Come up with a product or service that, thousands or millions of people will willingly give you their money for. Don't try to cheat them. Just be honest about it. Why do you have to try to have this unnatural greed and take from somebody who's producing simply because you're not? You can always find all kinds of things, to do, especially with the internet today. Now, let me give you an example. Here's one. Fox News is reporting this, and this is how this whole thing got started tonight for me. Was this one story? Yeah. No. I watched the American Greed thing, but I'm just equating that to this particular story. And this is the type of thing that you have to understand happens in politics all the time. Is that our government decides that they're going to take ownership of something that they didn't create, that they didn't touch. But they're deciding that they're going to, like the internet, for example, the government didn't create it. They didn't build it. They didn't help, bring it to life and all that kind of stuff. But now they're going to regulate it as if they owned it from day one. Well, here's this woman, I guess a Spanish woman. Next month, a Spanish court. This is from FoxNews.com. A Spanish woman, a Spanish court will hear arguments in a most unusual case. A woman who claims to own the sun. Yes, that bright yellow-orange orb in the sky that gives us all life. She claims to own the sun, and she is suing eBay for blocking her extraterrestrial real estate sales. Now, this woman is fairly clever. And it's even better than what is it? Every year I hear the commercials for naming a star. What was it, like $59 or something? You can name a star. after some, and they, and you know, as if they can sell the name rights to the stars, but evidently they do. And it's registered in the star registry, all that kind of stuff. But I've never heard of a star called, you know, Bruce Jenner, for instance. I don't know. Maybe there is. I don't know where it is. But this is what they claim. So for like, I think the cost is around $59.85, $60 or something. But this lady has done it a little bit better. Now I got to tell you, I haven't heard this before, this story. So I didn't know somebody was out. Well, you know, there was somebody out there who was trying to sell parcels on the moon. Remember that story? But this woman, if you think it sounds a little nuts, but in a Madrid, Spain court, has ruled that 54-year-old Maria Angelis Duran has the right to have her case heard. Now, the court won't rule on the larger case of whether Duran's claim of ownership is legit, but on the narrower one, whether she violated eBay's seller agreement. Now, she had been selling parcels of about 11 square feet, or about a square meter, for $1 a piece, and had racked up 600 orders before eBay shut her down. Now, 600 people decided to give this woman $1 for a square meter, basically, ownership of the sun. Now, you're never going to be able to get there. I don't even know how she's, you know, quantifying it and, you know, giving coordinates of where it is, but evidently she must be doing so. You're never going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to, because what are you going to do? Look at the sun? You can't do that. You'll go blind. You'll burn your corneas. So you're never really going to know where it is. And she's racked up 600 of these orders, so she's made about $600. Now, Duran says she was never able to collect her money and is suing for about $11,000 in damages. She says, "I'm not a stupid person and I know the law." And Duran has said this is what she said of her solar real estate gambit. Now, she's basing her claim on a loophole in the UN's Outer Space Treaty that says no nation can take ownership to a heavenly body, but makes no mention of individuals. Now, this whole UN crap, come on, as if the UN is the law of the planet. Those of you who want, you know, who don't want one world government, well, guess what? It's already here. Sorry to inform you, but evidently it's here. And all they need is a military and policing body to enforce their rules and their laws. And they're not too far from actually getting that, by the way. Just saying. So she's basing her claim on that loophole. Now, Duran is an eclectic character, as you might imagine. She studied nursing and law and dreamt up her own religion, penned a kinky romance novel. She dreamt up her own religion. Sounds kind of like Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard and Church of Scientology. Now, the story notes that Duran is framing her sun fight as a statement against the corporate world and promises that any profits will go to charity. Now, for those of you who want to still buy a parcel of the sun, you can do so on her website, I guess. Are you going to be able to resell the I don't know. If you're into you know, I'm not. Well, it is kind of a scam, but you know what you're getting up front, and she's not promising that you know it's an investment. But hey, what if you bought, you know, 5 of them for $5? Do you think you could start you know, and say, well, you know, my parcels are in the better side of the moon, or a better corner of the sun, worth more. I don't know. So you can sell them for $3 and make $2. I don't know. I'm just, you know, but this is the type of thing that even our politicians will tell us. They'll play and prey upon our unnatural greed. And if people can get away, I mean, she's got 600 sales at least. If people can be taken on buying a piece of the sun to somebody who clearly cannot possibly own it, then there you go. We can be scammed by our politicians, and they do it daily. They tell us about all these wonderful programs that the government's going to give us, and you got Sanders out there trying to foist another scam on the American people. We'll get into that, but you got to wonder, where is all this scamming coming from, and why? Again, because it's simply, and it's not just on things that supposedly will increase in value for you. It's not just investments. It's not just novelty items. It's about cultural things too. We're trying to be scammed on cultural things, like gay stuff, gay marriage. There are people out there who refuse to call Bruce Caitlyn Jenner. I refuse to call him Caitlyn. I say Bruce Caitlyn. In most of the time, and the other times that I don't say Bruce Caitlyn, I just say Bruce. I won't call her she. Or I think it just did her. He, him. It gets kind of confusing. I won't call him her, because he's still a him. Plain and simple. And I know there are people out there, well, geez, Rod, you're transphobic. No, I'm not. I love this. If you don't agree with somebody else's premise, then you're somehow phobic of it. Do you know what phobic means? It means fear. I have no fear of transgendered people. I mean, why is it homophobic and transphobic and biophobic, whatever? But it's not. We don't seem to have phobias attached to people who don't like black people, or people who don't like white people, or people who don't like Asians. We don't call them phobic. We just call them bigots sometimes. And I don't know, am I bigoted against transgendered people? I don't think so. I just don't believe that scientifically and biologically speaking, they haven't changed sexes. It's just a fact. There's no phobia or fear involved in that. It's just a scientific, logical fact. But along with that, there are some other minority groups who don't get along very well with the alternative lifestyle. For instance, Native American tribes. The ones at the left are so quick to say that right-wingers came over here and stole all their land and we should give it back. Well, if we gave it all back, just so you know, they wouldn't have a country full of transgendered people. Because Native American tribes, including the two largest, prohibit same-sex marriage, by the way. Yes, this is CNSnews.com. Tribal laws of the two largest Native American tribes in the United States prohibit gay marriage, as do the laws of 9 other smaller tribes. The Navajo and Cherokee, which I am part Cherokee, and I can prove it, Mrs. Warren, collectively have about 600,000 members, and they prohibit same-sex marriage, and they don't go for the notion of transgenderization. They don't go for this LGBTQISWXYZ thing. They don't. So I wonder what the left is going to have to say about that. Interesting. So we've got this scam from the left that tries to tell us that an alternative lifestyle is so fine. It is harmless, but at the same time, we're being inundated with others beyond these norms. And you got to understand that most people in the LGBT, what's I? That's right, intersex. I'm not even going there. Most people within the LGBT community, oh no, they don't like some of the alternative lifestyles. The ones like NAMBLA, the man-boy love association thing. They don't get into, the bestiality part. You can marry your horse. No, that disgusts them too. But hey, don't they have rights? So are the gays now being alternate lifestyle-ophobic? Lifestyle-ophobic. Gotta like that one.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven ultra-lipo stick. Carbohydrates are bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on ultra-lipo stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using ultra-lipo stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra-lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used ultra-lipo stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra-lipo stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra-lipo stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Well, hello, my fellow Americans. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And as such, hopefully we will continue to have freedom and not have to worry about big government at all. That is our hope here in the wonderful granite state of New Hampshire. It is Monday, June the 8th, in the year of our Lord 2015, and the number that you can call this evening is toll-free 603-835-3224 if you wish to join me live. We were talking before the break about, being scammed by a bunch of different things, including this notion that, people can be homophobic or transphobic, and what a bunch of bunk that really is. But, it is a bunch of bunk, so we're not going to. It is what it is, folks. But the Native American tribes, and for those of you who think, well, if the Supreme Court decides that it is legal, then and it should be legal, and there's a constitutional right, then they're going to have to accept it. Au contraire, mon frère. Now, due to the status, and this is the reason why, due to their status as sovereign nations, the tribes will not need to change their marriage laws, which govern nearly 1 million tribe members. Even if the Supreme Court legalizes gay marriage later this month, if the court's ruling determines that same-sex couples have a constitutional right to marry, Native American bans on gay marriage will remain in effect because federally recognized tribes have the right to establish their own laws and are not subject to the U.S. Constitution. Ooh, snap. Snap, snap, snap. And trust me, you're not going on a Native American reservation and fighting for anything. Especially if you are not a member of that tribe. You can forget it. They will bounce you off faster than you can do anything. They don't have a right to listen to your nonsense, no matter who you are, no matter for what. Doesn't matter. I mean, if you're on their land without their permission, they can shoot you for trespassing. And you know what? They're a sovereign nation. There won't be an investigation from the outside. Just so you know. You want to, all you wonderful liberal idiots, you want to go and hug trees and try to save trees from being chopped down in a Native American reservation? Nope. They'll shoot you. Trespassing. Endangering the lives and welfares of the native peoples on their land. Look, if you want this kind of stuff, then stay in your own neighborhood. I don't, it doesn't really matter what it is. If your neighborhood decides that this is what your city, whatever, decides this is what you want, your state, then fine. I don't have to live in your state, but do not try to force others to live by your lack of standards. Plain and simple. This from the crux. From the crux. We have a bunch of, the president is out there talking about, wrong thing. Come on. We're looking at You know what I hate is when you have all this stuff set up and you go back to that page and you don't realize what has happened, but it is transmorphed into one of these stupid ads. Such a pain in the butt when they turn into ads when you don't expect them to. They just keep, rebooting themselves, and then before you know it, it's an ad, and you're like, "What is this? This is not the page that I had before." And you can have these, and none of them are, even good sites, like townhall.com. They often have these pop-ups that are just so pain in the butt like. Just so you know, Governor Chris Christie pardons aspiring police officer Stefan Josie Davis on bogus gun charge. I didn't hear about this, but he evidently he's a wannabe black cop, I guess. There's some things I just haven't heard of. It's hard to keep track of everything. But what I wanted to go to town hall for was this WAPO poll, Obamacare. Yes, approval ties all-time low. Supporters for keeping the subsidies comes despite the law polling as poorly as ever. The survey finds opinion on healthcare law among the worst in post ABC polling. 54% oppose, up up 6 percentage points from a year ago. Now, here's a little dirty secret, is that 6%, that 54%, is low because that number was much higher. At one point, it was as high as over 70% on some polls. We're saying 70% of the American people were against Obamacare. So this, you know that the number is actually higher. But so when they say that 54% oppose it, well, you know that Obamacare is in trouble as far as what people think it should be and whether or not they like it or not. So the percentage is up 6 points from a year ago. And this the support ties the record of a low 39%, which was last hit in April 2012. Now, the disconnect in the new poll that a majority opposed the law, while a nearly equal majority does not want the Supreme Court to rule against it, is driven by political independents as well as Republicans. Independents oppose the law 56% to 35%, but they also want a ruling in favor of subsidies by almost exactly the same margin. So it doesn't make any sense unless these people don't know what they're talking or what they're polling on. How can you oppose a law but then want subsidies for that law? Yeah, confusing, isn't it? Absolutely, and that's simply because some politicians and some news people are perpetrating a fraud on the American people. Did I just say American? Yeah, I did. So it just said American. American people. America. So you can't, it makes no sense for that to be the case. It makes no sense for somebody to be, to say, nearly 60% of the population oppose the law, but also nearly 60% of the population favor subsidies. Well, the subsidies are a part of the law. So you can't not like the law and like it at the same time. Well, I mean, I suppose you can say, well, I don't like the law as a whole, but I like some aspects of it. Like subsidies. Well, look, folks, subsidies are nothing more than a plain scam. Plain and simple. They're a scam. You can't get by it. No way to say it any other way, but it's a scam. Because you can't have a subsidy for a program that is an illegal program. And if the judges declare that this is, this part of the law is, unconstitutional or illegal, then are you saying that you support breaking the law? If they rule against Obamacare, it's simply because of how the law itself is written. And to me, it's pretty clear how the law is written. That the states have to set up these exchanges, and if they don't, then you're not going to have one in your state. Plain and simple. So this whole notion that you can have a subsidy but still hate the law, what makes no sense. Another scam being perpetrated on us by the left, by the lamestream media, and by left-wing radical politicians. Here's something from Mic.com, MIC.com. 14 years after decriminalizing all drugs, that's New York for all drugs, ALL, all. Here's what Portugal actually looks like today. 14 years ago, Portugal went against the EU, basically, and the United States and the Western world, and they decriminalized all their drugs. Yeah, ALL, all. Because we all know that A sounds like all. In 2001, the Portuguese government did something that the United States would find entirely alien. After many years of waging a fierce war on drugs, it decided to flip its strategy entirely. It decriminalized them all. Now, if someone is found in possession of less than a 10-day supply of anything from marijuana to heroin, he or she is sent to a 3-person commission for the dissuasion of drug addiction, typically made up of a lawyer, a doctor, and a social worker. The commission recommends treatment or a minor fine. Otherwise, the person is sent off without any penalty. A vast majority of the time, there is no penalty. 14 years after decriminalization, Portugal has not been run into the ground by a nation of drug addicts. In fact, by many measures, it's doing far better than it was before. Well, I've kind of gone that way myself by saying the war on drugs is really costing the United States both liberty and money. And it's costing us treasure. Because we lose good men and women in the war on drugs. They get killed. Both police and civilian, federal and local police and civilians. So one of the ways to stop this trend is to legalize some of this stuff. Specifically pot. I'm going to look. There are a number of reasons why pot became illegal, and none of them were really any good reasons anyway. A lot of what they talk about pot, it being a gateway drug, well, that doesn't seem to be actually bear out to be true if you look at the actual reality around the globe. That doesn't seem to be happening, especially in places where they've decriminalized it, like Portugal and in Amsterdam and a few other places. It doesn't seem like pot is leading people into harder drugs. Not at all. And this whole notion that we need to fight pot is redonkulous, to use a colloquialism, because it's not working. You think you're taking all, you hit this, you grab a shipment of, a ton of weed, pot, cannabis, if you will, and you think you've taken it off the streets. The truth is you haven't. There isn't a shortage still. People are growing this stuff all over the place. No, I don't smoke it, and I don't suggest that other people. You know what? It's their body, and it really isn't all that much of a danger, any more so than alcohol and tobacco. Now, I know you hear these people say these stupid things. Well, pot's never killed anybody, and you never heard of anybody on pot killing anybody, and both of those statements are inane. They are totally inane. Because there is no correlation for saying what they said. There is no evidence to prove or disprove what they said, which makes it inane. And we really should probably do more research on marijuana, but at the same time, we should understand that hemp from marijuana is a good thing, and we've seemed to, in this country, decided that we're going to just ban everything pot related. I don't know why. That makes no sense, especially when our European partners are allowing industrialized hemp to be grown and utilized for a number of different reasons. Sometimes it's just better. But, I guess it is, it is what it is. And there are people that think that pot can do a lot to cure certain diseases, including cancer. Now, I don't know if any of that stuff is true. I do know that pot does tend to relieve certain symptoms, including nausea, related to certain types of cancer treatments, which helps people to recover from those treatments, which means that they're able to take the treatments a little bit better, which means that they're more likely to complete the whole series of treatments that are necessary to eradicate the cancer within their body. So in that respect, I guess pot's a good thing. But look, anything too much of a good thing is not a good thing, right? Don't we always say that? Too much of a good thing. Well, we could say that about government. Too much government is not a good thing. Government always being in your face and telling you what you can and cannot do is not a good thing. So when you have the government that is lying to you about certain things, well, then people just start to think, well, maybe if they're lying to me about that, then they could be lying to me about this. And if they're lying to me about that over there, that drug, then they might be lying to me about this drug. And so people start not to trust the government at all when there are parts... there are times when they should fully, completely trust the government, but the government has done such a poor job of standing on its own when it comes to this stuff, and being legit and being honest and being real about it, that this is why people just don't trust them on this subject. And when you look at all the failed raids, drug raids, all the drug raids that happen at the wrong address, it happens far too. Now, I'm not bashing on our law enforcement, but it happens too often. And I know people argue, well, Rod, out of all the thousands, it happens like 1 out of 1,000. Well, that's 1 out of 1,000 too many. That should not happen. Especially when an innocent person gets injured or, God forbid, killed. Because, you tell people, well, if you just obey the police, then you'll be okay. Well, what if the police have it wrong? What if they have the wrong person? What if they have the wrong identity? What if they have the wrong property, wrong house, wrong car? And you don't even get a chance to comply with police request. And a lot of it happens from, illicit drug activity. And look, this is dangerous stuff. The people who deal with drugs are dangerous people. Do you want to, do you want to be involved in that type of element on a daily basis? I don't know why we make such laws that put our men and women of law enforcement in such danger daily. I don't understand it. And call it a war on drugs. But we always say, well, we can't get rid of the war on drugs. Well, why not? Because we've been scammed into and hypnotized into believing that it's the right thing to do. And we've noticed it doesn't work. The way we're currently engaging doesn't work. I know some people are going to say, oh, geez, Rod's advocating for legalizing. No, I'm not. I'm saying we have to rethink this because this whole notion of a war on drugs isn't working, and it's costing us a lot in blood and treasure. Different kinds of treasure. Well, this is a Reagan thing, right? Well, look, I know Nancy Reagan just just invented the thing, just say no. I know. But who's in charge now? Bill Clinton doubled down on Reagan. Obama is like, yeah, you states, you can go ahead and decriminalize it all you want to. It's still federally illegal. And if we catch people in your state, we're going to lock them up on federal charges. And you know what? They do that sometimes. They use it. They use it to their advantage, the feds. And I got to tell you that if there's another way, we should look for another way. If there's another way that's cheaper, that is going to save more people, keep more people out of jail that shouldn't be in jail, save our police, both in the federal and local level, from being killed, if it is going to reduce or prevent bad raids at the wrong place, if it is going to reduce violence and crime on our streets and reduce the value of some of these illicit drugs so that the cartels just don't see it being valuable to them anymore, at least not in the United States, we should seriously look at those options then, shouldn't we? And not listen to the propaganda that tells us that we have to fight this with everything we've got. You know, we got to learn to pick our battles.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. the families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
So, Obama's plan, Obamacare, is getting low numbers from the approval numbers from the American people. And this was a poll, in CBS, or excuse me, ABC Washington Post poll. But Obama was out there saying a lot of things today. And he says that the Supreme Court is wrong to take up the Obamacare challenge. This guy is thinking, you know what, hey, this is my plan. And, I say who should be able to take this up legally, and I don't think you should. Because it's my plan. And I'm the potentate. So he says that the Supreme Court, he's out there actually saying it out loud in Germany. He's in Germany, folks, saying that our Supreme Court is wrong to take up the Obamacare challenge. What? The President of the United States is in a foreign land deriding members of our government about a domestic issue. This is from The Hill. The Supreme Court should not have taken up the lawsuit challenging Obamacare subsidies, President Obama said on Monday. Why? Because, the law says one thing, and there are people, in different states that are saying, well, the law says one thing and you're doing another thing. They want clarification. So this should be an easy one. Frankly, it shouldn't have even been taken up, Obama said during a news conference at the Group of Seven, the G7, summit of leading industrial nations in Germany. Now, the Supreme Court is expected to hand out a decision later this month in King versus Burwell case, which threatens to eliminate subsidies for millions of Americans who receive their health insurance from federal exchanges, which they should not be because the law does not allow for a federal exchange. Plain and simple. It says that the states are to have that and do that. That's in the language of the law. Look, if you didn't like it, why did you put it in there? Now, Obama rejected the basis for the challenge and said it is well documented that the authors of the Affordable Care Act never intended to block people on federal exchanges from obtaining the subsidies. Then why didn't they put it in there? Look, we can go back and say, well, the Founding Fathers intended for this type of thing or never intended for this type of thing, and we can prove that. But, you're saying, well, if it doesn't fit what you want, then screw them, right? So screw what the law says. Just go by intent on this particular case, but no intent. Don't go by any intent on anything else that you don't like. You can't pick and choose. So basically, the law says, as it is written, that states must have an exchange. Now, a bunch of states decided that they weren't going to do it. They weren't going to have an exchange. And therefore, the people in their state weren't going to get these subsidies. And that was going to kill Obamacare. And this is exactly why Obama decided to have a federal exchange to offer federal, federal subsidies. But he's over there in Germany trashing our Supreme Court and our system of justice and the way we do things here because his feelings got hurt and he thinks he's the potentate and that he should be able to do whatever he wants. Now, he declined to answer questions about his contingency plans for a Supreme Court decision against the law and said people should assume that it will be upheld. So does he know something we don't know? Is the Supreme Court going to do this yet again? And decide, well, it's not really a law, it's a tax, and they can change a tax through code anytime they want. And if that's the case, then Congress needs to step in and say, nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen to let this stand. And they shouldn't. But we are talking about, the crying Speaker of the House, Boehner, and all the other rhinos up there. And he didn't stop with the Supremes out there. And this is from the WashingtonTimes.com, by the way. He had to lay into another judge. Forget the Supremes. The Supreme Court justices, they're poof. They shouldn't even have taken up the challenge as far as I'm concerned. They should not have taken up the case. It is beneath me to even have to argue about this case. They should not have taken it. If it were up to me, this case would not have even made it to the Supreme Court, because everything is up to me. And so Obama decides to deride another judge who blocked his amnesty plan. Yeah, President Obama scoffed at the individual district court judge who blocked his deportation amnesty, insisting Monday that he still believes his policy is legal despite repeated legal setbacks and vowing to push ahead where he can count on aiding illegal immigrants. But Mr. Obama said he'll abide by Judge Andrew S. Hannon's injunction, which has since been tentatively upheld by a federal appeals court, because that's the way the system works. Now, wait a minute. He'll abide by... Oh, my God. I'll abide by it for now. Yes, you silly little people. You're bugging the hell out of me. I'll abide by your silly little judging critique thing for now. But make no mistake about it, I will not abide by this silliness forever. For I am the ultimate, I am the potentate, the smartest man to ever grace the Oval Office, and I alone, in my infinite wisdom and knowledge, can tell what is best for the American people, all 330 plus million of you, and of course, those up to 25 million illegals. Yes. I know it is best for all of it, and we're not going to call them illegals anymore. No, they're just undocumented. And if we have my amnesty program, they will become documented and won't remain undocumented. And we'll be able to know who they are, and we'll be able to give them subsidies and welfare and health care and all the other good stuff that this wonderful nation that I have fundamentally transformed has to offer, to give these illegal, because most of these illegals, they're just poor children, or they were once poor children, and we just can't turn away anybody who was once a child. Just so you know, it is this guy's belief that he is slightly above the law. Didn't we have a president already that thought he was kind of above the law? Well, we've had a couple of them in the past 100 years. One of them actually got booted out of office. His name was Richard M. Nixon. Yeah, he resigned. Another one was called William Jefferson Clinton, but he got away with all kinds of stuff. So look at that. Republican doesn't get away with it. The Democrat does. And so now we have one that's probably worse than Clinton and Nixon combined in thinking that he can get away with. Think about that for a second. Having a president who's a current sitting president who's probably worse than, legally speaking, in the last 50 or 60 years, legally speaking, worse than the two worst legal presidents combined. I mean, let's face it, Nixon, he got, like I said, he was, impeached and he resigned. And Clinton got impeached, but he didn't resign. No other president in the past 50 or 60 years has come close to having such a thing. I know, well, Reagan in Iran-Contra. No, Reagan wasn't even close to being associated or touched with that for legal or illegality on that. But we had Nixon and we had Clinton who got hammered legally. And now we got another president who has done far worse than these two combined. And yet, he's still occupying the Oval Office. That is beyond me. Excuse me, how that works. Excuse me. I wish I knew how that worked, because, it'd be kind of nice to figure that out. And then you could do it all over the place, could you not? I think you could. And, it... Now, Judge, even if an individual district court judge who is making this determination, we've got to go through the process to challenge it. And until we get clarity there, I don't want to bring people in, have them apply, and jump through a lot of hoops, only to have it deferred and delayed further. Now, this is what the president said during a press conference at the conclusion of the G7 summit. Now, Judge Hannon halted President Obama's amnesty on February 16th, ruling that the president's policy to grant 3-year work permits and legal documents to as many as 5 million illegal immigrants was big enough that it should have gone through public notice and comment under the terms of the federal law. Well, he's trying to change the law. That was pretty plain and simple, and he can't do that on his own. Speaking of border stuff, also from the Washington Times, WashingtonTimes.com, worried lawmakers assess border security after Mexican drug cartel attack. Really? So now we're going to start paying attention. I guess it's better late than never. 2 top members of Congress headed to the border yesterday to investigate a drug cartel attack on U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents' helicopters, which raised more concerns about escalating violence spilling north. Now, Representative Jason Chaffetz from Utah and chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, and Representative Blake Farenthold told out of Texas, we're planning to get a firsthand look at the situation in Laredo, Texas, after the helicopter was forced to make an emergency landing last Friday. No injuries were reported, but the incident happened just days after Mr. Chaffetz and Representative Philmon Vila of Texas, the ranking Democrat on the Oversight Subcommittee on Border Security, sent a letter questioning whether the State Department was taking the cartel violence seriously enough. In particular, they wondered why the department was poised to cut the danger pay for its diplomatic personnel in Nuevo Laredo and Matamoros, as authorities in northern Mexico were being attacked with stunning frequency in the drug war. In light of the widespread violence in northern Mexico and the crime-fueled unrest in Matamoros, Nuevo Laredo, and Guadalajara, we urge you to take all steps possible to reduce the level of violence and to protect the lives of Americans working there, the congressman wrote last week to Secretary of State John F. Kerry, who broke his leg while riding a bike in France. Was it France? Yeah, he was in France, riding a bike. Fell off the bike, broke his leg. Now, I don't know. I didn't see the accident. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Now, the State Department declined to say anything specific about the move to cut pay, which Mr. Chaffetz was told about during a personal investigation into the situation. I am guessing that now, if we tried to build a fence, that we'd have to have a full Army contingent in the sections where they're building it in order to protect the workers, construction workers. Because these folks, I'm sorry, but they're importing. This is why we have to close the border. This is why there is such a thing as illegal immigration. This is why you leftists are morons on this subject. The violence is coming into the United States. Rod, it's because we have this demand. Well, you know what? If we change the whole situation and change the demand for this stuff, yes, it would stop coming in. And you wouldn't have as much violence. I agree. However, just because there's a demand for the product doesn't mean that you start killing innocent people and shooting at helicopters of our Border Patrol agents. No. This is an invasion. You stop them at the border. You keep them, you funnel them into areas where you can get better control of them and make it easier to take out the bad guys. Just in case the bad guys decided to try to get through. And look, I have said this before. You know, you have a double-walled... Look, you got the Saudis have come up with a beautiful plan on how to building a wall that'll work. And I say just go a little bit further, because I know that these people like to build tunnels. Well, you have a double system. You have a Saudi system, with all the electronics and what have you, and we have these metal plates that we can drive into the ground. And look, some of these things are, we could drive them 100 feet down. Do that. It's quick, easy. You just pound them into the earth, and if they can dig that far down, more power to them. But every once in a while, you just do a few things on the ground that causes tremors, that will cause some of these things to collapse. Nothing is going to be 100% effective 100% of the time, but it doesn't mean that we have to make it we have to let it be as easy as it is right now for them to cross the border. Make it hard. Make it extremely hard to cross. Make them really, really work for it. And then once you have all the electronic equipment in there, if you can determine, small earthquakes, you can determine if somebody's digging. Put sensors in certain parts of the wall to see if somebody's digging. And then you can triangulate with a number of different sensors to figure where precisely. And then, don't even try stopping them. Just bury them alive. Just bury them. Maybe they'll get the hint that that they shouldn't try it. I hate to sound mean and cruel, but if they're going to be that mean and cruel to the American people, the American citizen, and if this is war, you got to be on a war footing. I mean, when you stop them point blank. And I don't mean that you have to go down into find the tunnels and go down into the tunnels and that kind. No. Just collapse the tunnel. And if anybody's in the tunnel, oh well. Just make sure that our people, our citizens, are not going down in the tunnel checking it out. Just collapse the tunnel. And so if there's nobody down, well, I mean, you're going to be able to hear people digging. So if you collapse a tunnel while somebody's in there digging, eventually they'll get the hint and people aren't going to go down and dig. But we've got to do something in order to stop this nonsense. One, yes, we need to change our illegal drug policy. We need to revamp it. We need to drop this war on drugs. It's not working, and it will never work. And we need to change how we deal with people who have drug addiction. And by throwing them in jail is not the way to do it. But we need to figure out how better to serve these people with addiction. I know some people are saying you sound like a liberal, Rod. No, I'm thinking practical and logical, because the way we're handling it doesn't work. And we need to close our border. We need to fully close the border off. We need to man up and close the border. And we need to understand that there are certain types of drugs that probably just shouldn't be illegal because it costs too much in treasure, both blood and money, to even try to make this thing work. And it doesn't work. That's the whole problem. So don't be fooled by this scam that we've got to keep on and press on and even increase the war. It doesn't work, folks. It's not working. And all it is doing is causing to fuel even further the violence on American streets. If you take away that power, that value that the drugs have on the streets, then you're going to reduce the crime, reduce the violence automatically. Plain and simple, if you close the border, you're going to further restrict the supply, the illegal, illicit supply. And if you keep the violence on that side of the border, great. I don't care if they could build the Great Wall of China, which, didn't keep the attackers from the east, from the west out, but it was a great feat. If they can do that back then, sure as hell we can build something, today it's a little bit more sophisticated. Yeah, don't tell me we can't, because we can. And we've just got to change how we look at things, plain and simple. Oh, by the way, Obama also talked about the U.S. Now, he said this. The U.S. lacks a full plan, basically, to train Iraqi soldiers. Well, that's his fault. Is it not? I think so. He's the one that pulled out before having a plan in place. Obama says the U.S. lacks complete strategy for training Iraqis to fight ISIS. Well, Mr. President, you pulled out before there was a plan. Well, that sound means that I'm out of time for tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. I'm Rod Eccles.
Bloody Mary's and Broadsheet's co-host Stacy had a recent interview with Stephanie Scruggs, who's an activist for the Coalition for a Strong America.
First of all, what you need to know is that Fast Track TPA is this bill before Congress where Congress gives their power to negotiate international trade agreements and treaties to the president.
She also had this to say.
Is you get WTO tribunals, big world courts, telling the United States, yeah, you got to change your laws.
This has been a K98 Talk exclusive.